You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me here on today's Training Thursday show. We've had some great shows this week. On Monday, we talked about how to find comfort in being uncomfortable, or really just trying to get yourself out of that comfort zone, not just so that you can expand yourself, but also to really have something to juxtapose again. That was a really powerful show that I hope you did tune into. And then on Tuesday, we talked about the 7 most common intermittent fasting mistakes. This is so common, and so often does this set people back, meaning they thought intermittent fasting was going to be the right thing for them and only to be shortchanged in their results. Check that show out. It will absolutely help you get more out of intermittent fasting. And then yesterday, we talked about how to recommit to your body transformation goals and why I believe this September is the absolute best time of the year to do that. Now, today, what we're going to talk about is how to ramp up your workout and workout days and everything that goes along with it. So honestly, I think this goes hand in hand with yesterday's show. Yesterday, I talked about how really to recommit to those goals, to recommit to an exercise routine, to change things up and how to do that. But what I didn't give you yesterday was how to actually ramp up those workouts. So let's talk about that right now. One of the things that I like best about really the human body and studying physiology now for 20 years is looking at how the body adapts. And once you know how it adapts, you can then use that to your advantage. And really, when you think about it, all exercise is, and all body transformation is continuing to adapt to your surroundings. That's literally it. And as you train your body in a certain way, your body responds by getting stronger, faster, more neurologically in depth, or just meaning getting better at completing that exercise. And it does that from an actual survival-based perspective, meaning like you have to get stronger if your body's going to continually have to pick up these heavy things. We call them weights, but before it would just be like manual labor. And it has to get faster if you're trying to catch food or you're trying to run away from something or whatever it might be. So your body is adapting from an instinctual-based perspective. Now, we can do great things with that in terms of now transforming the body to make it look like however you want it to look. I really believe that. I mean, I'm telling you just from personal perspective, working with thousands of people, I've seen people who are ectomorphs put on a lot of muscle. It's just more challenging for them to put on muscle, but they can do it. And I've seen endomorphs go from a very large, robust, overweight body type to then a nice, lean, fit endomorphic body type. And I've seen the pitta body type or the mesomorph go overweight or underweight and back down to its normal, lean, muscular mesomorphic frame, and that goes for both men and women. And every body type is absolutely fantastic. All you do is get it to its absolute best potential. That's it. Nobody needs to be stick thin and nobody needs to be overweight. There's always a lot of levels in between. But the truth is that every body type can do whatever you want if you just simply follow these adaptation-based phases. So what I want to do now is allow you to choose the level that you want to get to. But I want to give you all of those levels, meaning that there's something for just straight out beginners that we're going to talk about. And then there's all the way to the highest level of sports specific where I've worked with Olympic athletes, I've worked with world champions, I've worked with professional athletes, everyone all over the map, amateurs, professionals, whatever. But I want you to be able to choose that level of commitment that's right for you. Now, just remember that where you're at today may not be where you'll be at in 6 months from now of training, or 12 months, or even 2 years. Things change. Life changes. When you're 70 years old, your workouts are going to look different than when you were 20 years old. They just are. And the reason for that is if you've been sticking with things, you'll just see that your body changes. It isn't able to adapt as quickly, but it can still do the same exercises. The load just may be different. The recovery may be different. The volume may be different, but we all need the same types of exercise. So let's get right into that now. So the bottom line is this. If you are a true beginner, I honestly believe there's no need to push yourself harder than getting to 10,000 steps per day. Now, a lot of these recommendations I'm going to give you are going to fly in the face of a lot of what you're reading or hearing. And here's why. I'm going to tell you why. I started as a personal trainer when I was 17 years old. So just under that, actually. I was actually at Planet Fitness in Woburn. I can remember that like it was yesterday. Walked into Planet Fitness in Woburn, and this was the 90s. And I went in there focused, like, this is what I want to do. I want to get this job. I found out that you had to get a certification, which I didn't know. And then I found out that you can't get certified till you're 18. So I'd be called a fitness technician. And then third, I just found out what all of this entails, which for me, it was basically like picking up weights and putting them on the weight stack. But anyway, it was a good place to start. And as I moved through the years, obviously, and getting all these fun certifications and all that, is that I found that sometimes we push people to a higher level that's even needed, meaning that we ask people to plateau too quickly. And I teach this to personal trainers to this day and health professionals, doctors, acupuncturists, whatever it might be. And the reason I teach them is this, that if you're asking people to get on the TRX and start doing like atomic push-ups and push-up claps and all that, where do they have to go? Like, that's the last level. Why go right to that? Your body's not going to get better results. It's just not. So when you're a true beginner, let's say you're 100 pounds overweight, you haven't been exercising. You don't need to just jump into an hour a day workout. What you need to do is get 10,000 steps of walking every single day. The only person on this earth who should not get 10,000 steps per day, honestly, is someone who physically can't. Meaning not because they can't push themselves to do it, but because of actual physical limitations. There's something wrong with their feet. They just, whatever it might be, they literally can't walk 10,000 steps because of a physiological or a biomechanical based issue. If you can't do it, you can't do it. I understand. I'm going to give you a workaround though, because remember, there's no excuses here. We always do what we can do, and there's always something to do. So we start with walking. We do 10,000 steps per day. Now, you might even be ready for 10,000 steps per day. If you're used to doing 3,500, which is what the average person does right around there, well, guess what? 4,000, 4,500. That's an extra 10 minutes or so of walking. That's going to be a good place to start, okay? But you'll actually build it into your schedule. You'll say, okay, well, every day at lunch or every day after dinner, I'm going for a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute walk. That's your first. Now, you're going to progress through that pretty quickly. So then what I want you to do is actually add in cardio. Now, I know this seems strange, but here's why. I'm setting the foundation. Every house needs a strong foundation. Every business needs a strong foundation. Every relationship needs a strong foundation. Everything needs a strong foundation. You need a little bit of cardio to make sure that you're going to be able to push through your weight training, which we're going to get to, without actually falling short because you can't catch your wind. Okay. Now, for those people who can't get their 10,000 steps or so, what you can also do is an upright bike. I told you I would give you a different example. An upright bike still to this day is one of the best forms of cardio. Now, what am I saying cardio? I'm not talking about intervals. I'm talking about cardio. I'm talking about moving your legs, whether it's walking, whether it's running, not long distance we're talking about 2 to 3 miles maximum. And especially if you can do it outside on like a trail, or maybe if you're in a gym, you can do it on a woodway, something that's a little bit more cushion, that's a little bit more give. But I'm definitely not advocating long distance running here. And you could even do an elliptical or some type of because there's many different machines now that create some type of an ellipse as well. So those are all fine. Again, the upright bike is a little bit more biomechanical work, but again, there's all different reasons why people might not be able to do one or the other. I'm not an advocate of the recumbent bike where you're seated way back, I should say. What happens is your hips get into a posterior pelvic tilt, and that actually rounds out the lower spine, the lumbar spine. Not an advocate of that, okay? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But I like the upright bike, and you can do any of the others. That's fine. I want you to start sweating a little bit, all right? I want you to get your heart rate pumping a little bit. I want you to actually push some of that cholesterol through your arteries. I'm going to start to move that lymph, all of those things. Even jumping on a rebounder would be great as well. That would be really, really nice. You could even do some jumping rope. That would work great. Okay, it's also at this point that we're going to start getting into some body weight workouts. Now, what do we talk about body weight workouts? Well, right now, all I'm talking about is this. Some push-ups. Now, what if you can't do push-ups? That's okay. Put your hands on the edge of the bed. Okay, now you're in an inclined position. Do them from that angle. That works perfectly well. Or if you're at the gym, use a squat rack, use the bar, put your hands on the bar. Maybe it's right around hip height or so. Maybe it's even chest height. And you can start leaning in an angle and doing your push-ups right there. Okay, you can do assisted pull-ups or chin-ups or neutral pull-ups. That would be totally fine. You can do bodyweight squats. You could do bodyweight lunges. You could do bodyweight Romanian deadlifts. Just one leg, you could do them that way, okay? Just get into your bodyweight movements. Why? But because before we add weight, before we add a greater load to the body, we want to make sure that neurologically we can stay balanced and neurologically we can maintain good form for at least 10 reps to 12 reps to maybe 15 repetitions. That's really, really important. And I also advocate, I'm a big advocate of this. Actually, with every year that passes by, I really believe that everyone, every morning or so, should do a handful of bodyweight exercises. Now, they could be yoga poses like the upward and downward dog, or I've talked about in the past. I'll try to link it up if I can in the show notes, called Surya Namaskar or Surya Namaskara, where I was in southern India. They pronounce it different ways. And that's an absolutely beautiful movement. And even though I got certified in yoga as an instructor many years ago, I think that was a long time ago. That was when I lived in Providence, Rhode Island, many years ago. I am not an expert in yoga. I've studied it. I've studied actually more physiologically what it can do for the body. But what I can do is I can link up to show you how to complete those exercises. That's fantastic because that actually works the core, the shoulders, the chest, stretches your hamstrings. Really, really great little sun salutation based set. But for someone like myself, I like doing the up-down dog. What I like to do is this. I do push-ups. I like to do squats. I like to do lunges because it opens up my hip flexors. I like to do a little bit of core work, basically like a plank or a V pose to get my core engaged, maybe a set of chin-ups. All that does is it wakes up my body. And I'm talking, this might take me 3 minutes. And I'm not taking anything to failure. I'm just waking my body up. I'm warming my body up and I'm strengthening my body. And it's also just part of my routine. When you do a routine like that in the morning, guess what? The rest of the day is basically set. What did you do? You woke up, you got your body ready, you did your body weight exercises, you're going to go have a smoothie or a nice healthy breakfast. You're setting your body up for success. I've talked about this many, many times, and I'm going to do a special show on it in the future, but you have to get your mornings right. It's just so vitally important. Okay, so again, 3 minutes to 5 minutes every morning. Everyone has that. How do you do a body weight squat? You just literally sit on a chair and stand back up. That's it. That's all you have to do. People say their knees hurt. I've taught this many, many times in the past. If your knees hurt doing a squat, you're simply doing it incorrectly. Now, that can be corrected. It really can. And it means sitting back on your hips. But a lot of people don't trust using those glutes in the beginning. So sit down on a chair and stand back up. Do that 10 times. You just did 10 squats. It's a great place to start. Nothing wrong with that. Do your push-ups. Do your lunges. Do a little bit of core work. That's all you need. Just get that body moving. Now, once we're done with kind of our daily walking, a little bit of cardio, or even just the walking, your body weight exercises, I want you to move on to more formal workouts. Okay. So you've got your body prepped. You've got a great foundation, something that you can do for the rest of your life. Bodyweight exercises, low cardio, start with walking 10,000 steps. You can do that for the rest of your life. Now, the more formal workouts are your bodyweight or resistance-based training. Now, what does that consist of? Well, it either consists of going to the gym, working out right at your home with your own body weight or some bands or some kettlebells or things I've preached about in the past, especially my Friday reviews where I'm reviewing adjustable kettlebells and all sorts of fun stuff, Versa loops. But you can do it, again, gym, personal trainer, your own home, whatever it might be. But what I want you to do is start out with twice a week, okay? That's the beginning. That's the magic number. Why? Because you cannot keep muscle on your body as you age without exercising twice a week, okay? The results are coming right down the street from us. We're actually in South Quincy, I believe, by Dr. Wayne Westcott. I've studied his work for quite some time. The most important thing I got from his work is this. He's working with 80-plus-year-olds now. Pretty amazing studies. when he's looking at these studies, he's looking, what does it take to put on muscle even at 80 years old? What does it take not to lose muscle and bone tissue after your 30s, 40s, 50s, twice a week working out, okay? 3 times a week is absolutely fantastic, but twice a week, he said, and I actually brought him in to speak one day many, many years ago as well, to managed a bunch of health and fitness facilities, is he said this, that if you're doing twice a week, you don't get twice the benefit. You get exponentially more benefit, which means 3 to 4 times the amount of benefit. And that's because you wouldn't have gone 6 days between workouts. You're only going at most 48 to 72 hours. So that's the amazing thing. Twice a week workouts with resistance training, Monday and Thursday, Tuesday and Friday, Saturday and Wednesday, whatever you'd like to do. Just keep them a couple days apart. That's the next place to start. Now, what are those? Well, if you're new to working out, again, I have a book called A Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength. It's not just for men, it's for women as well. We use the same programs in our actual facility. You can just go to Start a Workout 1 and Start a Workout 2. That's the best place to start. It's called Start a Workout 1, Start a Workout 2. And just so you know that I'm not trying to sell this book to you, I think it's probably around $15 on Amazon, and I make about $1.50 from the sale of that book. So, I will give that $1.50 to charity. Very happy to do that. So here's the thing. Those workouts just teach you to start with the basics, the fundamentals. Again, don't think about standing on a ball and doing, curls with your eyes closed. That's not what we're meant to be doing. Never, in the history of working out, is that what we're supposed to be doing? We start with the fundamentals, the deadlift, the squat, the lunge, the step up, the press, the pull, and some core work, like some chops. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, twice a week, you get fantastic results. If you can do 3 times a week, even better. That's really the sweet spot. Meaning, like, if you really want to transform your body, I'm convinced that 3 times a week is the place to be. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. And here's why. Here's why that's so great. Is because now you're never taking off really more than 24 to 48 hours in a row without working out, which means you're going to be better able to absorb glucose, to better able to regulate blood sugar, to not become catabolic, not burn off that muscle tissue, and you're going to start to increase protein synthesis, all the things that your body needs for healthy aging, but also body transformation. I'm convinced those 3 weight workouts per week is the way to go. Now, if you can eventually ramp it up to 4, fine, but I don't even know if you have to go that far. I certainly wouldn't recommend 5. I would recommend up to 4, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. However you want to do it, totally fine. You could break up your workouts in your own ways. 3 to 4 times a week, though, that is unbelievable for body transformation. And then after this point, you can say, okay, now I'm going to add in interval training. Okay. Now you can say, well, you should be doing interval training beforehand. I don't necessarily agree with that. And the reason is this: your resistance training and your weight training is going to lead to greater results. And in and of itself, it is interval training. Meaning, like, you can do a 1-arm chest press, you can go right into a remaining deadlift, and then you can go right into cable chops or something like that. That's your own little interval. That will get your heart rate up. Like, if you're talking about what is interval training, well, what are we talking about? We're talking about raising the heart rate and bringing it back down? Because if we are, well, you can do that during resistance training. So now with additional interval training, here's what I'm talking about. Another 3 to 10 actual intervals of 20 seconds to 60 seconds long. Now, that could be on a treadmill, it could be on an upright bike, it could be doing mountain climbers, it could be swinging a kettlebell, it could be anything for 20 to 60 seconds all out. That's a different story. Again, tune back in. I've done lots of shows on intervals. So just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, simply type in intervals or interval training, and you will find all of those episodes. So that's next level. It's also more advanced. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you're a personal trainer listening to this, or you're an DO, or if you're a chiropractor, or anyone who's recommending exercise, intervals are advanced. A lot of people don't know that. When you're moving at 100% and you're moving all out, swinging a kettlebell or sprinting as fast as you can, if you're not in good biomechanical order, if you don't have good coordination, you could get hurt because you're going 100% all out. So I just want you to know that's another level up, and it's great. If you can do that, love that, fantastic. Try that a couple more times a week. Now, you could do 3 weight workouts per week, resistance. Again, it could be your own body weight, and you could do another 1 to 2 days of intervals. That works absolutely fantastic as well. A little 5-minute workout, 20 to 30-minute interval workout, 5-minute cool down. Perfect. Again, your workouts never have to be more than 30 minutes. You can get plenty of work in 30 minutes. That's plenty of time. Most of of mine are between 20 minutes and 40 minutes maximum. That's it. And then after that, so now we've gone through the levels. This is it. We're talking about walking. We're talking about a little cardio. We're talking about body weight exercise on a daily basis. We're talking about formal workout, resistance-based training. And we're talking about more intense intervals. And last, we're talking about sport-specific or additional cardio. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, people who want to do Spartan races, people who want to do mixed martial arts, people who want to do marathons. That's more of the additional cardio, where we need to not only increase our anaerobic threshold, our interval-based, which is kind of like, again, depending on how long the interval is, typically anaerobic, but it can get longer. This is where we're improving our aerobism, and we're able to increase the amount of time we can do aerobic-based work. And that could be fine for some people, meaning like they want to do 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so of aerobic-based training. Again, that can be fine to a certain extent. And then also sport-specific. So this is when you are going to add in your particular sport. If you're a triathlete, and I work with a bunch of triathletes, that you need to build in time for your swims. And your swims, in my opinion, is going to take place not of your 2 to 3 resistance workouts, but it's actually going to take place of your cardio-based workouts. Again, I know that there's different types of interval-based swims, things like that. That's when I'm doing my cardio for tri-based training. What about I work with a few professional football players right now, American football. And what would you do? Well, I would absolutely make sure for that 4 times a week of my workouts. Why? Because their bodies need to be strong. And then I would be doing definitely those interval-based sprints. Not so much longer cardio. If they were doing longer cardio, it would be simply 1 day per week of maybe 3 to 4 miles maximum. The rest of the time is dedicated to their intervals. Why would that be? Well, for most plays in American football, like when you are actually the ball is hiked quarterback and they don't last more than 10 seconds. That's it. So you're really not ever running around on the field for more than 10 seconds, maybe on a crazy play, 20 seconds. That's it. So those interval sprints are really working on acceleration. They're working on speed. They're working on, really that anaerobic based capacity. So that's what I'm recommending. Hopefully this made sense today, but if you just look at, all you have to do is step into the level where you're at right now. If you're not doing anything, walk. If you're just getting a little bit into it, just move your body. Do a little bit of cardio. When you're ready, start those body weight exercises on a daily basis. I want you then to get in some formal workouts as soon as possible. 2 to 3 days a week to start. Even 2 is perfect. Then work up to 3, 1 able. 4 is the most you'd ever have to do, and you never have to get there as long as you're doing 3 weight workouts per week, spread apart, 24 to 48 hours apart. Then some more intense interval-based training. After that, your sports specific would come in. And of course, at that time, you're working with a coach, you're working with a personal trainer, athletic trainer, whatever it might be. Hopefully, today's show shed a little light on where you should be, how you should be ramping up your workouts, and then how to not progress too quickly. Meaning like, you don't want to just jump into crazy intense intervals if you haven't done the steps before that. So again, thank you for tuning into another Cabral Concept. Really appreciate each and every one of your listens. Please do feel free to share this show with anyone it could help. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.